In Generation 1, due to Persian's high speed, Slash would have a 99.6% chance to be a critical hit. Unfortunately for Persian though, Generation 2 changed how critical hits were determined, but I can't see that being too much of an issue for Persian. With good all-round stats and excellent speed, we have a great chance to set a very good time. I tell you what, it feels good to be back into these challenges. I've been a little bit unwell again over the last few months, such is the nature of my conditions, and in addition to that I couldn't even play because I'd injured my thumb. However, if you'll excuse the pun, I've had the thumbs up to be good to go again. And without giving too much away, I have some very interesting runs lined up. On the day of recording this voiceover, I just managed to get Cast Form over the line in Fire Red, and in Pokémon Crystal I have played what might be the worst non-gimmick normal type Pokémon. So if you don't want to miss either of those runs, make sure you are subscribed. But for now we're focusing on Meowth and we have 19 HP at level 5. We're holding a berry and our moves are Scratch and Growl, 10 in attack, 9 in defense, special attack and special defense, and a whopping 14 in speed. They're the stats we're working with, so let's get the graphics up and let's get the challenge run underway. As always, I'll show you the very first encounter we have with a wild Pokemon, and in this instance it's a level 2 Rattata. Our attack is decent enough to knock it out in 2 hits and we make our way off to Mr. Pokemon's house. And while we're in Mr. Pokemon's house, I want to know, how have you all been? I've been a little bit away from social media, a little bit away from YouTube, recovering from my illness. However, I am very much feeling a lot better. And thank you to those of you who got in touch with me to ask how I am. I really do appreciate it. But for now, let's take a look at our first rival battle. The rival in this instance has Chikorita because I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace our starter Totodile with Meowth. And you may notice a lot of the normal types have Chikorita as the rival's Pokemon, and that's just because it's the bulkiest and it knows Reflect. We make our way back into the Pokemon lab, we call the rival Triple Question Mark, and we're going to make our way towards Violet City. We're going to skip the Sprout Tower and go straight into our first gym battle. This is Falkner, he's leader number 1, he's a bird type specialist who leads with Pidgey. We take out the Pidgey in 3 shots, surviving on 21 HP as the Pidgeotto comes in. Our berry kicks in on Pidgeotto's first hit, and it's just 4 shots to knock it out. Surviving on 7 HP, growing to 10 HP, and learning Bite in the process. Zephyr Badge in a time of 6 minutes and 25 seconds. Not bad at all for a month away, eh? Let's now move towards Azalea Town and the Union Cave. We'll pick up the most important item in the game, that Paralysed Cure Berry, and we'll also get Swift from Union Cave. And now it's time to pick up our HM friends. And our first HM friend we encounter today is Psyduck. Psyduck's going to be helping us out with Surf, Strength, Waterfall and Whirlpool. And Psyduck is the reason we play at night. Psyduck's only available as a nighttime encounter in Pokémon Crystal, and our second HM friend is Paris. Paris, sometimes known as Wee to my friends, he is going to be helping us out with Cut, with Flash, with Sweet Scent and with Dig. And now let's make our way into the Slowpoke well. We'll teach Swift as our 4th move, and we'll test it out against the final Rocket Grunt. Swift, of course, being 60 base power, gives us a 50% boost to our attacking prowess, and it means that Coughing gets knocked out in just a few hits. Our low defences are already showing though. We took a lot of damage against that Coughing, and things aren't necessarily going to get any easier from here as we take on our second gym battle. It's Bugsy, the bug-type specialist, who leads with Metapod. Metapod shoots some string at us, but we have very high speed, so it doesn't matter. We're on to the Kakuna, who hardens, but we knock it out in 2 shots, and his final Pokemon is Scyther. Scyther's Fury Cutter misses in a stroke of good fortune, but we run out of Swifts, but that's fine for us. A single scratch finishes it off, and we get our second badge in a time of 14 minutes and 5 seconds. We can't be celebrating for too long though, because up next, right around the corner, is the second rival battle. This battle is notorious for having the potential to completely stop any momentum, so I was a little bit worried going into this. However, we knock out the Ghastly in 1 shot. We bite the Zubat, but we get confused by Supersonic. We hit through the confusion to knock it out with a Swift, and here comes the Bayleaf. Bayleaf flinches on turn 1, but poisons us on turn 2. However, that's not going to be enough to save it. We outspeed the Bayleaf, we knock it out, and we are through one of the very tricky battles of this run, relatively unscathed. We'll take a detour back to the Pokemon Center to heal up. We'll get Cut from the Charcoal Maker, and we'll make our way further through the forest. We'll grab headbutts from the green-haired man staring at the tree, and we'll be teaching that right about now. One thing I try and do is save on menuing time, so I try and only teach TMs when my repel has worn off or I have another reason to go into the bag. That way we save a few seconds here and there. We'll make our way out of the Ilex Forest now, and we will engage Picnicagina in battle. She's got a pair of Hoppip and a Bulbasaur. She is also very important if you're running a Pokemon that evolves with a Leaf Stone. However, she's still very good experience and very good stat experience all round. And defeating Picnicagina, we grow to level 20 and we learn Meowth's signature move, Payday. We don't see Payday much in this edit, however the money we got from it was very important in a couple of situations. Also on this route we'll catch our Abra who'll be helping us out with teleport, and we'll make our way over to the bike shop in Goldenrod City. We're going to be cycling around and doubling our movement speed. And the first thing we'll do on the bike is get a little bit of concussion trying to pick up Kenya. Kenya's going to be helping us out with Fly, and thank goodness you don't need a license for that bike. I am very rusty on it. In the National Park, we pick up the TM for Dig, we go out of the National Park, have a little chat with Floria, and make our way into gym number 3. This is Whitney, she is our third gym leader together who will lead with Clefairy. We keep everything crossed that Clefairy doesn't use Metronome and it uses Double Slap instead. She takes off 10 HP and the cow comes out. We outspeed the cow and flinch it twice in a row before she locks into Rollout. Rollout isn't going to be strong enough and we knock it out on our 4th turn, and we get her badge in a time of 19 minutes and 52 seconds. We're making very good time so far, especially considering as we're unevolved. So let's now try to keep it up. We'll go next door into the flower shop and pick up the Squirts bottle so that we can pester that tree. It runs for the hills, never to be seen again, and we are in Ecruteak City. And the first thing we're going to want to do in Ecruteak City is battle the Kimono Girls. And in this run we're going to have a look at how we fared against Umbreon. It started sand attacking us, so we just swapped to Swift because it never misses. We knock it out. And our reward for knocking out the Kimono Girls, of course, is Surf. Surf, of course, is going to let us traverse the open seas, but before we do that, we need to get the 4th gym badge. We're in no state to battle Morty at the moment, though, so we're going to go up the lighthouse. While we're in Olivine City, we might as well pick up Strength because it's very easy to forget. And it's in the lighthouse that we grow to level 28 against Lasconi and her Marill, and at level 28 we are going to evolve. So we're going to say goodbye to Meowth, who took us through the very first parts of the run. We're going to say goodbye to Bite as well, and we're going to get an upgrade in both our move and our Pokemon departments. Feint Attack is like Swift, it never misses, and Persian has a lovely buff to its base stats. We'll have a little chat with Jasmine at the top of the lighthouse, we'll pick up the rare candy and we'll dig and teleport all the way back to Ecruteak City. Now before taking on rival number 3, we're going to say goodbye to Payday, and we're going to put on Mudslap because that's the only real way we can get through the rival's Magnemite, and we're going to engage him in battle. First thing we're going to do is take care of the Haunter with a Feint Attack, and he knocks himself out with Curse, and here comes the Magnemite. Even at 4 times super effective, we don't knock it out in one shot, and we do take a little bit of damage. And that brings us onto the Zubat that goes down in the blink of an eye, and his final Pokemon is Bayleaf. Bayleaf's Reflect means it was quite close to us being knocked out, but we survived on 25 HP. We drop through the floor, we release the beasts, and then we will dig out ourselves. Our next destination is going to be the gym, where Morty is waiting for us. Morty, of course, is a ghost-type trainer, and that means that the lion's share of his Pokemon don't have a move to hit us with. However, we still have to be careful for those swearing Ghastly and Haunter, and the Dream-Eating Gengar, so we knock out the Ghastly and Haunter in one hit apiece. We have the Mince Berry on for the Gengar, but Hypnosis misses, and that just leaves his final Haunter. We Feint Attack it, we knock it out in one hit, we grow to level 32, and we get the Fog Badge. Time of 28 minutes and 51 seconds. I always say if we're under half an hour after Badge 4, we're doing a very good time, and that is certainly the case for Persian. We're now going to take a trip across the open seas towards Cianwood City. We've got a couple of bits to do here. The first thing we're going to do is pick up the secret potion from the man in the dodgy shop. And now we're going to take on the only gym where we have the type disadvantage. This is Chuck, his fighting gym, and he will lead with Primeape. We're going to headbutt the Primeape, and it's going to use Leah. That means our defense has dropped. Out comes the Poliwrath. Dynamic Punch misses on turn 1, but it lands on turn 2, and we get one hit KO'd. Let's try that again, shall we? We're on reset number 1 now, so this is not a 0 reset run. We're through the Primeape, and we're back onto the Poliwrath. Dynamic Punch misses after a flinch this time, and we get the Storm Badge on our second attempt in a time of 31 minutes and 23 seconds. Unfortunately for us, we have paws and not hands, so we're not going to be able to Dynamic Punch anything later on. Instead, we're going to pick up Fly, we'll teach that to Kenya, and we'll make our way towards the Lake of Rage. We're taking the long route this time because we didn't get early hidden power. We'll pick up the rare candy, and then we'll go into the secret house. And our hidden power type this time is Ice. Ice is really a good all-round hidden power type. It gets us through a lot of the important battles a little bit quicker, but we're not going to be using hidden power for a while. Instead, we're going to get thrashed by the Gyarados, but once again Headbutt comes in clutch as we make it flinch, and we'll have a little chat with Lance the Liar. Nothing of great significance happens in the underground section this time, so we'll go straight to the end where he gives us a dodgy Whirlpool HM, and now it's time for our 6th gym already. This one's Price, the Ice-type specialist, who will lead with Seal. This gym's always bugged me because out of the 3 Pokemon, only one is weak to fire, so we'll take care of that Seal in one single headbutt. Dugong's going to take a couple of headbutts to knock out, and the final Pokemon is Piloswine. Piloswine's bulkier than the other 2, so it's a 3-shot, however he does use a Hyper Potion. We're back to square 1, and it's 3 further hits to knock it out, and we get our 6th badge in a time of 38 minutes and 10 seconds. Let's now do a little bit of housekeeping before we go and see Jasmine back in Olivine City, and the first thing we're going to do is go over to Violet. We've got a rare candy waiting for us just outside the Sprout Tower, and talking of the Sprout Tower, let's get it over and done with now. I still don't quite have the confidence to remember to do it after the league, so better to be safe than sorry. We'll go into the Slowpoke well, and we'll take advantage of our very high speed by picking up the King's Rock. That will give us a 10% chance to flinch with certain moves. We'll get the rare candy south of Goldenrod City along with the Nuggets, and now it's time to take on the training triplets. We take on the Goldeen line, the Staryu line, and the Shelder line here, and for once I remembered that Shelder has very high physical defense and low special defense, so we use Feint Attack against Cool Trainer Kate, and our reward is the Soft Sand. That's going to give us a nice 10% buff to our ground type move. The only one we have, of course, is Mud Slap, and that is something we're going to be testing out right now as we reascend the Lighthouse. We give Jasmine the secret potion, but we've got to make sure she's not hoarding it away. I still think she's using it on her Steelix, so we'll chase after her and check her handbag. And we need Jasmine to know that we are going to be keeping an eye on her. That's why I don't teach Hidden Power until I'm well into the gym. We delete Feint Attack and we say hello to Hidden Power because that's going to be neutral against the Steelix, and Steelix has very low special defense. So we'll take her on, our 7th gym leader, and this is her Magnemite. Disaster strikes though because we don't one-shot the Magnemite, and I decide not to take any chances at all. We're going to take on some trainers on the route up to the Lake of Rage, and we're going to grow to level 40. And because of how close it was last time, I reckon just 1 level is needed to make this battle consistent. So we're going to go all the way back to Olivine City, and we're going to re-engage her in battle. So for the second time, this is Jasmine, the Steel-type specialist who leads with that pesky Magnemite. We Mud Slap it and it goes away in 1 hit. Her second Magnemite suffers the same fate, and that just brings us to Steelix. We use a single Mud Slap to lower its accuracy, but Iron Tail hits for the first time. We use another one as Iron Tail misses, and then we get her just out of healing range. We survived on 35 HP to get our 7th badge in a time of 45 minutes and 23 seconds. We're definitely doing a very good pace here as we make our way into Goldenrod City. In Goldenrod City, the 4th and penultimate rival battle awaits us. This time he leads with Golbat, and we have Hidden Power Ice. So that's super effective against the Golbat and knocks it out in 1 hit, and here comes another pesky Magnemite. We knock this out in 1 single hit though, and we are on to the Haunter. Of course, losing our Dart-type move means we don't have anything super effective, and we get Cursed. We headbutt the Sneasel, and Sneasel's frail enough to be knocked out in a single hit, and we Hidden Power Ice the Meganium. He manages to land a Poison Powder, which was incredibly frustrating because I didn't have a healing item, so I had to take an extra heal here and lose a bit of time. But we got through the rest of the radio tower without any issues. We taught return on routes for PP management, we almost forgot the pink bow but we remembered it just in time, and we also remembered to grab the radio card. It's imperative you grab the radio card on any challenge run because otherwise you'll be stuck by that pesky Snorlax in Kanto. And let me tell you, it's a very big ordeal to try and get the radio card when you're over in the Kanto side. In the ice path we've got a couple of items we need to pick up. The first one was Waterfall, which is going to help us get to the league, and we're also going to get the Never Melts Ice. And with those two items safely tucked away in our bag, we're in Blackthorn City. Our only destination at the moment in Blackthorn City is Claire's gym. She is our 8th and final Jotonian gym leader, and she is a Dragon type specialist. She leads with a trio of Dragonair, and this is one of the reasons why we used Hidden Power Ice. That guaranteed one-shots on all 3 of the Dragonair, and we're on to the Kingdra. We swapped a Headbutt for the Kingdra because that means we are going to be taking her just outside of healing range. It's a 2-shot to knock her out, and we get the badge in a time of 59 minutes and 27 seconds. This is one of very few runs where we have defeated Claire in under an hour. That makes me feel good for the rest of the run, so let's make our way towards the Pokemon League. We grab the rare candy just east of Tojo Falls, we gain 3 levels on the Victory Road analogue, and now it's time for our final rival battle. This is a 5th one of 5, and he leads with Sneasel. Sneasel still as frail as ever, so one return knocks it out, and here comes Golbat. We stick with return because it's easier than going down to Hidden Power Ice, and then we misclick against the Magneton, and we pay the price because we got hit by a Thunder Wave. And unfortunately we're paralysed for the rest of this battle. However, we do grow to level 53 and replace Headbutt with Slash. It's the same base power, but having 5 extra PP and also having the King's Rock in our bag means I think it's worth the swap. We knock out the Haunter and we're onto the Kadabra. We don't outspeed it as Future Sight tries to hit us. We knock out the Kadabra in a single hit, and our final obstacle is Meganium. We snap out of confusion, one-shot it with return, and we have defeated the rival for the very last time. And that's it, we're at the Pokemon League. So the first thing we do here in the league is heal up whether we need it or not. And we'll say thank you to the HM friends. So it's thank you to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck and to Paris. You get some lovely rest in the costed LPC box as we are about to take on the league. Before we do though, we're going to do a little bit of prep work. We're going to say goodbye to Mudslap at long last and replace it with Shadow Ball. In this generation, Shadow Ball is a strong physical attack, even though it lowers special defense, and we mustn't forget our 4 full restores. We'll either need them or we won't. And our stats going into the league are 164 HP at level 53, holding the pink bow with return, Shadow Ball, Hidden Power Ice and Slash, 119 in attack, 100 in defense, 111 in the specials, and a whopping 160 in speed. Our first league member is Mr. Saint Germain himself, it's Will. He leads with Xatu, and Shadow Ball is already proving to be a very good move on our learn set because it knocks out his Xatu and his Jinx in one shot. He tries again with an Executor and we take it deep into the red. We evade the Leech Seed and knock that out in 2 shots, so he sends out Slowbro. Slowbro's very bulky, but Amnesia only raises special defense, so that's useless for him here, and we knock out the Xatu with a single Shadow Ball as well. Time of 1 hour 5 minutes and 8 seconds for Will. Let's try and keep this momentum going with Koga. He leads with Ariados, who is an easy one-shot with return. Up next is Venomoth. Venomoth also is an easy one-shot with return, but here comes Fortress. Fortress is incredibly bulky and we don't have anything really to hit it at all. And that gives him a chance to go boom, and we're going to have to retry again. So we're now on our 3rd reset overall for the run, which is not bad for this point in the run, and we are through onto the Fortress once more. We're going to stick with the same strategy and hope that he doesn't go boom. Now, from what I know about Generation 2's AI, if you're on the last Pokemon in your party, he has an increased chance of going boom. That's what the people in my community have told me, but if you know differently, please do let me know. We're on to lead Crobat though, and 2 slashes knocks it out. We grow to level 55, and we are through Koga on our 2nd attempt. Here though is Bruno. Bruno has the type advantage over us, being a fighting type specialist. We're through the Hitmontop in a single hit though, and here comes Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee is also a one-shot, but Hitmonchan has a priority move. That means we take a little bit of damage as the Machamp comes out. We're not strong enough to one-shot it, and we get critical hit. You might notice that we're up to 8 resets. That's because the Machamp got a critical hit every single time. He's using the Gen 1 strats on Persian against it. However, on reset number 8, we finally have a little bit of luck. We're in the same situation we were a few resets ago. Cross-shot misses, and he's stuck in a healing loop. This battle was always going to be one of the trickier battles for Persian, but goodness me, I didn't expect it to take just this long. It took us 2 minutes and 40 seconds to defeat Bruno, which is a very, very high time compared to what I wanted. Part of the reason for that is because his problematic Pokemon came out in 4th position. However, Karen's comes out in 1st slot, so I have absolutely no issue whatsoever resetting a couple of times against this Umbreon to see if we can get through with full accuracy. That happens on the 3rd reset, and we knock out the Umbreon in 2 returns. Up next is the Vileplume. We swap 2 Hidden Power Ice for the Vileplume, and it's not quite a one-shot, but Stun Spore misses. We're getting a lot of good luck against Karen, and that continues against the Gengar as we knock it out in a single hit. Here comes Murkrow. Murkrow isn't strong enough to survive our Hidden Power Ice, and her final Pokemon is Houndoom. Houndoom is one shot with return, and we are through the Elite Four in a time of 1 hour 10 minutes on the nose. Our final test for the Johto section is Lance. It's the liar with the flyers who leads with Gyarados. If you're running anything other than a normal type Pokemon, Gyarados can actually help you out quite a lot. It's roughly a 90% chance for him to use Rain Dance on turn number 1. And that means there are certain circumstances where the rain is up when the Charizard comes out, and that of course will always be a benefit. It didn't happen in this instance though, as the rain stopped against the Aerodactyl, but we still knock it out with a couple of Hidden Power Ices, and then it's a one-shot with return on the Charizard. That just leaves his final level 50 Dragonite, and it isn't a one-shot. That made me feel very good about putting the safety berry on because it was probably a lot tighter than it looked. We do knock out the final Dragonite though to get a time of 1 hour 10 minutes and 59 seconds through the league. And a Hall of Fame time of 1 hour 11 minutes and 15 seconds. We're comfortably in the top 10 now, but will we keep it up? We'll find out very, very soon, so don't you dare go anywhere because Kanto is next. And we are back where it all began outside our home in Newbark Town, where Professor Elm has a phone call for us. He's got an item to give us, the SS ticket, and that'll let us get through to the main chunk of Kanto. Before we get there though, we've got to retrieve our HM friends. So it's a warm welcome back to Kenya, to Abra, to Psyduck and to Paris, and this week they had a little holiday in Pittsburgh. So if you are in the Pennsylvania area, maybe you said hello to them. I will have to ask them after the run. For now though, we're going to go into Mount Moore to pick up our penultimate rare candy in Johto, and the last one is here in the Whirl Islands. And with a hop, skip and a jump, we make our way into Kanto. And of course the first thing we do in Kanto is the last thing we do in Johto. We get another rare candy, this time from the chairman of the Pokemon Fan Club. So we'll put that one with our rest of our rare candies and we'll skedaddle our way into Saffron City. It's a flying visit this time as we've got to make our way into Celadon, where we're going to pick up the leftovers from the bin. Our Persian isn't a fussy kitty, it doesn't mind eating leftovers from a bin. We'll pick up the PP up from the bush, and now we'll engage Erica in battle. She's the first of our gym leader gauntlets here in Kanto. We're going to be going through these rapid fire, and she is a grass type specialist. We have Hidden Power Ice on our learn set, but we don't really need to use it. Return is doing just a good enough job against all of her Pokemon. We defeat her in a time of 1 hour 15 minutes and 23 seconds, and up next is Misty. Misty is our second gym leader here in Kanto, and she is a water type specialist. She's only got 4 Pokemon, but that Lapras has proved to be our undoing on many occasions. We knock it out in a single critical hit this time, so we're not getting Perish Songed, and we finish off the Starmie in one shot as well. Third up on the chopping block is Sabrina. Sabrina is notorious for being difficult in Generation 1, but in Generation 2 she's very, very easy. We Shadow Ball her Espeon and knock it out in a single hit, growing to level 62. We give Mr. Mime the Shadow Ball treatment as well, and while we're at it we'll also throw a Shadow Ball in Alakazam's face. The Spoons were no good at deflecting the Shadow Ball, and we defeat her in a time of 1 hour 20 minutes and 11 seconds. Up next is Surge. Now Surge has a pesky Magneton, and that could be an issue for us because we don't have anything that can hit it very hard at all. So we're going to rely on return, and we don't one-shot it, but he goes for double team. We're not paralysed for the rest of this battle, which means we outspeed the Electrode, and his final Pokemon is Electabuzz. Electabuzz makes a sad bubble noise as it gets knocked out, and we get the Thunder Badge in a time of 1:21:24. Our final gym leader in this rapid-fire gauntlet is Brock. Brock is a Rock-type specialist, and once again we don't have anything too great against some of his Pokemon. Hidden Power is great against the ground types, but here comes Omastar. Shadow Ball, fortunately, is neutral, and it just about deals half against Omastar. We go back to Hidden Power for the Onix, and his final Pokemon is Kabutops. Kabutops isn't particularly bulky, and Surf is using his weaker special attack, so we get through unscathed and defeats him at a time of 1 hour 22 minutes and 47 seconds. And now it's time for everyone's favourite side character in these runs, it's 3 drill time. If you're going out of Pewter City on the bike in top speed, you're always guaranteed to hit him. He's 3 one-shots and we grow to level 64, and we'll make our way towards Pallet Town. At Pallet Town we're going to do a quick surf south and make our way onto the blown up Cinnabar Island. Unfortunately for the residents of Cinnabar, the volcano did do a little bit of an eruption, and the only person left here is Blue. He tells us that he's feeling a little bit sad and didn't particularly want to battle, but we've inspired him, but we're going to make him wait because he inconvenienced us by not being at the gym. In the meantime, we're going to take on Blaine, our 14th gym leader. He leads with Macargo, who is still at the bottom of the leaderboard, and Flamethrower didn't burn us, so the rest of this battle is very simple. The Bumphead Fireduck is frail enough to go down in a single return. Rapidash isn't rapid enough either. We knock that one out, and we get our 14th badge in a time of 1 hour 24 minutes and 19 seconds. Our penultimate gym leader is everyone's favourite pushover, it's Janine. She led with Crobat, but that's already down before I finish Janine's intro. The Weezing quickly follows suit, so she sends out another one. That Weezing coughs and splutters its way to the sidelines, as does the Ariados. That just leaves her final Venomoth. She uses a dire hit, but our hit is too dire for her, as we knock it out in a time of 1 hour 25 minutes and a single second. Our final gym leader is Blue. And Blue is absolutely our toughest test since Karen. He can put up a lot of resistance. We start off with a 2-shot on the Pidgeot to grow to level 65, and out comes Alakazam. Alakazam is very weak physically, as we saw in our last run together, so it's an easy KO, and then I misplay against the Rhydon. We use Shadow Ball, so I take an intentional reset. This time though, I'm holding the leftovers, and this could make this battle an awful lot easier. We're back up to full HP for the Alakazam, and we know that gets knocked out in a single hit, and we use Hidden Power Ice this time against the Rhydon. We still don't knock it out in one shot, and the Sandstorm begins. A second Hidden Power does take care of it, and then we carry on with Hidden Power against the Gyarados. This is intentional to fish out that Rain Dance so we're not taking passive damage and wasting time. We're almost back up to full health as the Executor comes out. Shadow Ball does a good job at taking it under half, but we do get seeded. Fortunately for us though, the final Pokemon is Arcanine. Extreme Speed deals a little bit of damage, but the rain stops, and that means he's not using a priority move on turn 2. We grow to level 66, and we've defeated our final gym trainer in a time of 1 hour 26 minutes and 51 seconds. And that's it, we only have one challenge left to go. That's Red, so we're going to unlock him by chatting to Professor Oak, and as we're making our way there, you might have noticed that the Repel's effect wore off mid-gym. That is my only bugbear about editing these runs. On a Discord server I've got with a couple of friends, there's a channel called Repel's Effect Wore Off, which is dedicated to all those little bits of frustration I have while editing these videos. However, I mustn't linger on my own personal frustrations, we'll take them out here on Red. He led with Pikachu, and Pikachu is already irrelevant. Psychic, however, from Espeon deals an awful lot of damage. We were into the yellow for the Espeon, and we're only just back in the green for the Snorlax. Snorlax takes one look at us, body slams us into next week, and we take our first reset at red. We're not taking any chances here, we're growing to level 69, and instead of going back to learn Thunderbolt, I decide to learn Zap Cannon. That 50-50 chance might be low, but I still think it's going to be quicker than going all the way back to Goldenrod, plus we have the guaranteed paralysis if we hit. This time Espeon uses Reflect, and we are at full HP for the Snorlax. We take a gamble with Zap Cannon, but we miss on our first turn. We hit on the second turn, but he paralyzes us straight back. That's enough for me to use another 3 rare candies. We use our rare candies in a pattern of 3, then 4, so it's fair for every single Pokemon. So we're now at level 72, and at 72 we almost one-shot the Espeon, taking it deep into the red. However, we still do take some damage. Reflect isn't up though for the Snorlax, as we paralyze it with Zap Cannon, and it's an easy 3 shots with that Zap Cannon damage. Our HP probably isn't going to be high enough to get through the rest of this battle, but it's still very good info for the rest of his party. Venusaur's an easy 2 shots, and we're on to the Charizard. We miss our Zap Cannon, Flamethrower takes us deep into the red, we miss again, and I take another reset. Let's use all of our remaining rare candies to be sure that we have the best chance of defeating him. Pikachu is irrelevant, it's been irrelevant since turn 1. We use Shadow Ball against the Espeon this time, and that is a one-shot. We're now guaranteed to be at full HP for the Snorlax. Snorlax is now a 2-shot range with return, but we low roll on turn number 2, and we take a lot of damage from Body Slam. We get an unnecessary critical hit there when we could have done with it the turn before, but Venusaur locks itself into a 2-turn move, so we knock it out before taking any damage. This is the best possible scenario so far, as Zap Cannon hits. Charizard's Flamethrower knocks us into the yellow as we hit it back with return. There's one more Pokemon between us and our final time. We hit Zap Cannon on the Blastoise, he gets paralysed and uses Rain Dance, we finish it off with return, we get another unnecessary critical hit, and we have defeated Red in a time of 1 hour 36 minutes and 7 seconds. For a Pokemon whose only very high stat is speed, that is a very good time. With only base 70 attack, we still make it into 8th place on the leaderboard. We're very deservedly in between Heracross and Venusaur. That moves Typhlosion down into 10th spot, and our former champion Furret is now heading the page on page number 2. Down at the bottom, of course, we still have poor Magcargo in 45th place. But with that, we are done. So I'm going to say thank you all so much for watching. It's an absolute pleasure to be back. If you've enjoyed this video, please do consider leaving it a like. If you want to see more content just like this, please do think about subscribing. And if you've got anything at all to say, leave it in the comments down below. But until next time, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon.